Outside of the Echo Chamber, the official I Dream of Indie Games podcast is brought to you by you, the gamer. If you'd like to join our mission to support indie visibility, head over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames and bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming. Hello everyone, welcome back to the official I Dream of Indie Games podcast. My name is Old Gamer Joe, and I'm joined as always by Barely Magic Mike and Silent Signs. We're here to bring a voice to the voiceless within the indie gaming scene with daily reviews, gameplay impressions, upcoming releases, and top 10 videos to go along with those. And of course, this show, Outside of the Echo Chamber, our weekly podcast. A big thank you to everyone for supporting independent content. If you love indie games as much as we do, you can help keep indie visibility alive and well by heading over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames. There you'll gain access to the greatest indie gaming community on Discord, early ad-free shows like upcoming indies and this podcast 3 days early. Patreon access also gets you shoutouts at the end of every video we produce, regardless of which tier you select. But best of all, Silent Signs, what are you doing? You're supporting
indie visibility.
That's right. On today's show, we're going to be going over a few indie gaming news stories, have our question of the day for both myself and the staff, which you can also participate in if you so wish, go over what's been going on with the website and the channel, and of course, our weekly discussion, which is going to be all about local co-op today. So, with that said, you probably already know this, but this podcast is available on Spotify through our YouTube channel as well under the podcast section, and of course, by default, YouTube Music. So if you are a YouTube Music subscriber, you can also enjoy the show that way, and you can lock your phone that way too, which is kind of annoying with normal YouTube. I think if you have premium, you can lock your phone and still continue to listen to audio.
Correct.
But if you are one of the scrubs like myself that doesn't have premium, well
the peasants like us,
you're screwed. All right then. Let's kick things off with a few indie gaming and, well, non-indie gaming news stories, though I suppose this does pertain to indies as well. We're talking, of course, about the big news with the Switch 2, which was officially revealed by Nintendo now. We got to see a little bit of what the system will look like, a hint of its features, and I can't wait to hear your reactions to what you think about it based on a little bit of a tease that we got from Nintendo, which kind of feels like a reaction to the leaks. But yeah, it's been 8 years of Switch, if not more at this point. You want me to give my thoughts first, or have I talked enough?
You've talked a lot.
Okay, so Silent Signs, why don't you tell us what you think of the Switch 2?
Maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I found it to be a little underwhelming. I was expecting something big, because that's what Nintendo does. They usually take a risk with their new consoles. This doesn't really feel like a risk so much as a response to everything else that's been released since the Switch was released. Maybe that's just me.
No, I think I agree with you for the most part. This felt to me like the safest Nintendo console ever, because you're right, they're always known for that gimmick, whether it was the Wii with the Wiimote or, even the Switch itself. That was pretty innovative for the time.
This was just like, hey, it's the Switch, but better.
Yeah, so almost kind of reminiscent of NES to SNES in a way, where it was really just about graphical updates and such, but a little bit of an underwhelming way to reveal your console, but at the same time, it also checks off what I was personally looking for out of a new console from Nintendo, because I like the functionality of the Switch for the most part. I like that it's portable and you can dock it and play it at home and all of that. But it really just needed more horsepower and a few little tweaks here or there, like the Joy-Cons being improved and such. So I think this system is going to be really good, but I don't think it's their sexiest console, if that makes sense. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of looking for something big, having games that actually run well on it would be pretty big. I sort of echo the whole reaction of, Nintendo normally does really big stuff, and we like to see the innovation from Nintendo, but I'm kind of relieved that they're going a little safe here, because like Joe said, I mean, it really does just need more horsepower, and I love the Switch concept. I think it's so good, and being able to remove the controllers and have each Joy-Con being used by one person for Mario Party or something. I mean, it's a great console. It just needs it needs to be a little bit modernized. I was worried they were even going to call it like the new Nintendo Switch or the Switch U or something stupid like that, but it seems like they're kind of listening. And maybe there are other ways that they can be kind of innovative, introduce some features that we're not present in the original Switch, but I feel like it'll be more subtle, and I don't know, I'm okay with that. I do feel like the reveal was underwhelming, only because I wanted to see some games. I mean, Mario Kart 9, sure, but we saw like nothing of it. I was hoping, maybe a 3D Mario or something. I guess we'll be waiting till April 2nd, but yeah, I was just like, cool, new Switch is coming. That is news. Indeed, that is news.
Yeah, like I said, this very much felt like a reaction to me to the leaks, because from what I could tell, the leaks were pretty much accurate. The magnetic Joy-Cons kind of just clinging in there, and looks like there's going to be some sort of mouse support going on with this thing too, so maybe it'll be a little bit more accessible for those point-and-click adventure style games, or maybe FPS games even. It'll be interesting there, but for the most part, yeah, like I said, pretty safe stuff from Nintendo, which surprises me. But that said, I'm really excited. It's a long wait to see what the games are going to be.
Do we know what the price point is?
They haven't said price, and they haven't actually announced the game past Mario Kart, right? I don't think officially.
No, they haven't. And now there are already rumors that Silk Song is going to be announced as with part of the launch lineup. Of course. April 2nd is going to be the big re-reveal of Silk Song. You heard it here. No, you didn't. We'll see about that. But yeah, I feel like it would be they would be insane to price it any more than 400. I feel like even that might be a tough sell for some people, but I feel like 400's reasonable.
$399.
Yeah, no, actually, I have it higher myself. I think this console is going to be $500, but I think there's the potential for a model that's $400 too. I think the one that people are going to want might be priced at $500. It is more powerful, they're saying, than a Steam Deck, which itself is getting older, believe it or not. It feels kind of new, but...
Do you think they're going to do something where there's a digital only and a one where you can input?
I could see something along those lines, for
I don't
sure.
even know, what do you call those anymore? Carts?
I actually think no, because they made such a thing about it being backwards compatible with carts in the reveal video. That is one thing that they were very clear about. So I would be very surprised if there's a digital only version, because backwards compatibility was a big sell.
That is true, though. It is a way to cut costs if they did want to go that route. Maybe not initially, but down the road they could certainly explore something like that. But no,
yeah, totally.
If I'm taking a guess, I have this thing coming in at 500 because I just feel like everything's expensive now. So if Nintendo could come in at 400, I think they'll do very, very well. If they can come in at 500, they'll be fine. It'll be interesting to see either way. We'll see who's right in just maybe they'll announce the price here in April. We'll find out, right?
What is the most expensive console Nintendo has ever released? Has it ever been above 400?
No, I feel like it maybe was the Switch, right? Because remember, Wii was like $199 or something like that.
I remember the SNES being expensive for its time.
Yeah, but even that I think was under 200.
Was it?
Yeah, believe it or not. I think it would.
I don't have numbers in front of me.
I feel like it was the Switch. It was probably their most expensive, right? So yeah, that's kind of where we are with Switch 2. We will await more details in April, which is kind of a painful wait. But again, they had to announce this thing because it was announcing itself. All right, I pulled a couple stories here. Nothing major. Again, we're kind of still in the early phases of 2025 as far as gaming goes. But I thought this game looked really neat, and I wanted to give it a shout out. We're talking about Death Howl, which I know I dropped the trailer for in our Discord community. Mike, you seemed interested in it. I'm going to read a little bit from the press release that's out there right now. Quote, "Step into a realm where sorrow meets strategy in Death Howl, the latest game from the Danish team The Outer Zone and 11-Bit Studios. Death Howl weaves a poignant tale of grief, healing, and resilience crafted into an atmospheric Souls-like deck builder. Both teams are thrilled to announce that a demo for Death Howl will be available starting Monday, coinciding with the kickoff of this year's 11-Bit Studios publisher sale on Steam." So, Mike, I shouted you out there. What's got you excited about Death Howl?
You know, I love deck builders. I'm really a big fan of them ever since Slay the Spire, although I haven't found one that's as good as Slay the Spire, but some come kind of close. I really like anything with turn-based strategy, but I can't do big RPGs because I just don't have the time for them, so roguelikes are kind of perfect. This is not actually a roguelike. I thought it was at first, but maybe I just expect deck builders to be. I'm curious what is Souls-like about it, just because I don't know. I don't know if I've ever heard of a deck building Souls-like or a turn-based Souls-like, which maybe I'm improperly assuming that this is, but it looks turn-based at least. I don't know. It looks really beautiful. The mood, the vibe is very kind of melancholy, very creepy. Lots of sort of folk horror influences, I feel like, and I really like the vibes it gives off. The Souls-like tag usually makes me kind of concerned, but if it's turn-based and deck building, then I could very much be on board. And honestly, 11-bit, I know this isn't developed by them, it's just published by them, but even as a publishing house, they really don't tend to miss. So I really want to try that demo. I'm curious to see how it unfolds and what Souls-like about it, especially.
Like you said, 11-bit's kind of been on fire. They had Indica last year, which if you haven't seen our Game Awards from last year, Indica was featured so many times, I think I've lost count at this point. But, they're a pretty damn good publisher. So this isn't my normal genre. Silent Science, does it speak to you at all?
I've recently gotten into deck building. I was never really a deck builder back in my day, but I think games like Inscription really changed my mind about card-based combat in general. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued.
All right,
cautiously.
Have you played Slay the Spire?
I have not.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Oh. I know.
That's my only. I can't words with that. Just.
I have to. I know.
The other story I found interesting this week is coming to us from the good folks over at Playtonic. And it's an expansion of sorts, is my understanding, for the game Little Gator Game, which I did not personally play myself. I know, again, Barely Magic Mike is kind of a fan. Quote, publisher Playtonic friends and developer Mega Wobble are thrilled to announce that Little Gator Game in the Dark, a huge game expansion for the charming and whimsical adventure title Little Gator Game, is currently in development for PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, Series S and X, and Switch. Little Gator is back in an adorable new adventure, and this time it's bigger than ever. The In the Dark expansion will double the size and the fun of the full Little Gator Game experience, and will also introduce a host of new characters. In this charming expansion, new adventures and friends are just beneath the surface, literally. Get ready to cave into the fun and find that you're a stalag right where you belong. There's a new buddy in every cave and crevice to help you on your journey in this exciting new big underground adventure. Mike, go ahead and tell us why we should play Little Gator Game or be excited about this expansion.
Yeah, so Little Gator Game, it is a 3-hour or so long, just warm hug. It is such a delightful game. It's not especially difficult. It has a lot of the vibes of maybe something like a short hike. Really, it's this mini open world where you're this little gator who wants to play with his big sister, but his big sister's busy with like school or work or something like that. I forget. But you just have to go out and play with your friends. And there's all these little missions you do to sort of build up your sort of base that all your friends are hanging out at. And it's just so wholesome. There's nothing really intense about it. It's very relaxing. I would say, if anything, the open world might have been even a little too big, even though it's pretty small, just in the sense that occasionally I would get a little bit lost kind of looking for whatever I had to do next. So it wasn't quite as tight as something like a short hike, but it was a really good time. And as soon as I saw that they announced this expansion, I'm like, I would absolutely play more Little Gator Game. I definitely don't see why not. And I kind of appreciate that they're doing an expansion rather than a sequel, because I don't really think they needed to add any mechanics, really. I mean, it's kind of a simple game, and I prefer that it stay that way. And an expansion the size of the base game sounds perfect. I'm very excited for it.
When I look at this game, I'm reminded of this childhood toy that was called, I think it was Crocodile Dentist. I don't know if you all had one.
Of course.
Where the goal of this thing was to pull the teeth out of the crocodile, and if you pulled the wrong tooth, he would chomp down on your hand, which probably wouldn't pass regulations nowadays.
I will say, I'm surprised it reminds you of that more than Gator Golf.
Yeah, Gator Golf, too. I didn't have that one, though. That was like a physical, you hit the thing into the mouth.
Yeah,
right?
you hit it into the mouth of the gator.
Well, let me tell you about hitting things into the mouth.
Do tell me.
I'm going to stop it.
Go
there.
ahead,
John.
yeah.
I'm not actually going to tell you.
Mr. Bucket?
I was hoping for more laughter and I wouldn't have to tell you, but that's okay. But yeah, that's exciting. I didn't realize the game was that well loved to get this huge expansion, so I'll have to play it. It's on my backlog like so many other games. I want to go over now a few titles that are coming to the Nintendo eShop, because we know a lot of you folks out there are now back into the Switch ecosystem with the announcement of the Switch 2, and it seems like your games aren't going to be lost to the Netherrealm. So, they're not all indie on this list, but for the most part they probably are, and I'll be interested from y'all if any of them ring a bell for you, because eShop often gets these very old indie releases that have kind of been kicking around Steam for a while, so if any ring a bell, do let me know, but this one will certainly ring a bell, but however, it's more in the AAA realm. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD hit the eShop, and I thought, Silent Signs, this is a very strange title to come back.
It wasn't my favorite Donkey Kong Country game.
No, not only
say
just that, but like, did this need a HD upgrade at all? I feel like, wasn't it HD before, or am I wrong on that?
Apparently not.
Mike, do you have any experience with Donkey Kong Country Returns?
Yeah, I played it a little bit on the 3DS version. My understanding, if I'm remembering correctly, it was was it a Wii game that became a 3DS game and now is becoming a Switch game with just kind of up-resed and nothing really added.
That feels right.
I mean, I played a little bit of it. It was good.
Fine.
I mean, it's
serviceable.
Yeah, it's fine. I am blown away. Continuously blown away at how bold Nintendo is with pricing these sort of remasters. I mean, it is $60 they're releasing this thing for.
Is it really?
What? Yeah,
that's
they were
pretty
releasing
ballsy.
it full price. They did the same thing with Luigi's Mansion 2 recently, and I'm like, are these selling? Are people buying these? Maybe they are. I don't know.
I feel like people are buying them.
We saw it at Costco yesterday, and it was
probably
fully stocked. Like, I don't think anyone bought a single one. So, I don't know. Maybe they're buying it digitally.
Well, I just don't think this game was that notable to begin with. Like, not to say it's a bad game by any means, but it's kind of like this next one on the list, which I actually really enjoy this game, Tales of Grace's F, which I guess is out now on certain platforms, coming to Switch. Or I'm sure it's all out at this point.
Is that the one we played like 10 years ago?
Yes, we played it on PS3.
Yeah.
Which a ways back. And it's a great game, but also, why is this game back already? Other than, like, try to make money.
It was a decade ago.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, time flies. Maybe I'm just losing track of time and these things are justified in returning. So, the other big release, though, over on the eShop was Blade Chimera. Have y'all heard anything on Blade Chimera? We were going to cover it, but I kind of got connected with the PR agency. This was our first contact with them, so it was kind of a new relationship. So going forward, we'll be working more with them, but Blade Chimera just came out at the wrong time for us. But have you heard anything positive or negative otherwise?
I've heard it's very good. I've seen some of the scores and it's great. It's a Metroidvania, so I will not be touching it, but it looks beautiful.
You really don't like those Metroidvanias, do you?
Most of them, the gameplay is really good, but as soon as I get lost, I'm not having fun anymore.
So you need a Metroidvania
as soon as I get lost, I'm out anywhere.
with a good map.
I need a Metroidvania with a good map and quest markers. If it has a good map and quest markers and like fast travel, I'm good.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Very good.
I
like Guacamelee. I really liked. Those I liked.
Those are fun.
On the topic of quest markers, I can't say what game, but I was just playing a game where it has like waypoints and you can follow quests, but then inexplicably the waypoint doesn't appear or point you until you're actually at the location that you needed to find.
Then it's like, hey, here's your waypoint.
Nice.
And like, I hope I'm just stupid and missing something, because that just seems like terrible game design. So yeah, I'm with you. I hate being lost in games. It's one of my pet peeves as well. But with a good Metroidvania map, like Silent says, you typically don't get lost, as long as the map is labeled and such.
Yeah, maybe I need you guys to just recommend me a good Metroidvania that doesn't have that problem. And I feel like I would be on board. Actually, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, not indie, but that was a cool Metroidvania. I liked that one.
Did you ever play Ender Lilies?
I did not.
You should try it. Just saying.
Maybe I
There's
should.
a sequel coming out.
Yes, we'll be talking about the sequel.
Maybe I should.
At some point a little bit later here. There's this Nintendo music thing going on. I remember hearing a little bit about this. Nintendo is releasing old songs slowly through, I guess it's an app, or is it through the Switch itself? I forget, but new release there. The Wind Waker soundtrack is up for you folks out there that enjoy Zelda music. I'm a VGM guy myself, but my fear with Nintendo getting into the VGM game is that they're going to start shutting down some of the channels I enjoy listening to on YouTube.
On the bright side, our television has an app where you can listen to VGM.
Does it really?
That? It does.
What's that?
We have an LG TV, so it's the LG radio app.
Really?
Yeah.
That's badass. I didn't know about that.
Mm-hmm. We stumbled upon it the other day.
Our TV is quite smart, living up to its name, I must say.
TVs
Almost
now
scary
are
smart.
pretty smart. Although we looked at new TVs yesterday, and I can't look at our TV the same.
Oh my gosh, yes. So Mike, you've seen the TV in our living room. You have an idea of what I'm working with. It's a 42-inch, and now I realize
modest.
This is pretty small for what I need nowadays because my back sucks, so I kind of need to recline and work. It's not ideal. It's probably not how most people work an office job, but that's what works for me. So now I'm kind of squinting, and I'm noticing I'm getting more headaches from this 42-inch TV. So I want to upgrade anyways because big TVs are awesome, but it will actually physically help me do my job better.
Yeah, plus I'm blind.
Oh, I never took you for such a size queen, Joe.
No, I'm really not.
For
I'm
sure
usually known for my average size and things. So, but
don't let him lie to you.
So yeah, Nintendo music fans, I know we're kind of talking about some non-indie stuff here, but I will run through the list of games that are coming to the eShop this week, and there's definitely a lot of indie here to like. Starting off with Arcade Archives versus Family Tennis. Interesting. Backrooms, Inside the Escape, Bonk, Cavern Adventures, Critical Strike Shooter, District Evolution, Dragons vs. Balloons TD, Dreadout Remastered, that rings a bell, Egg Console Crimson, Ender Magnolia, coming to the Switch. Silent Signs touched on that a little bit. Fables Mosaic, Little Red Riding Hood. Does that ring a bell with anyone?
No, I don't know. I feel like some of those games are totally legit indie games that are probably very good, but some of them might also be just shovelware. Nintendo really does not curate their eShop. There is a lot of junk that gets released every week, and it's kind of a shame.
Yeah, well, good news. I'm only halfway through the list, so let's continue here.
There's a game coming out.
Oh, good.
There's a game coming out called Shadows of Steam, which I feel like is what comes out on the eShop nowadays.
And if I was doing our upcoming list and including all of these games, I would probably literally shoot myself having to talk about all of these releases in a row. But I'm just going to keep naming them off here. Godsvivers? That is a weird title.
Wow.
Godsvivers.
Terrible name.
That is so bad.
That's such a bad name. Oh my god.
Might be a good game,
really
but
bad.
that is a very bad name.
I gotta look up what that is.
Yeah, you can do that while I continue this
you
here.
Go ahead.
Hand-drawn epic adventures. Himpatol? Isolation Instinct. Farming Craft Survival. Jewel Match Solitaire 2. Let's Aim a Ring Toss. Need for Race. Once again, Over Dungeon. Pocket Puzzle. Princess Lila. Professor Dr. Jetpack. Puzzle Adventures. Sea Animals and Forest Animals.
All right, so Godsvivers came out on Steam in February of 2024.
Okay, it's not that old.
It was a top-down action roguelite, epic battle between gods and Hades. So,
how's it look?
It looks not bad.
Like, what's the rating from the...
It looks like 86, which I don't know. I don't trust Steam reviews all the time, but it looks okay. It looks like a Vampire Survivors.
Yeah,
clone.
pretty positive.
What were we expecting?
For what it is.
Now it's all making sense. That's why it's called Godsvivers.
It still doesn't make sense. There was a better way. There is a better way to combine those words. I'm confident.
I'm going to read the rest of these now before I never do this again. Roger Bintz, Roller Skating. Runny Bunny, Shadow of Steam. Shalnor, Silverwind Saga. Sakurobot. You got to look that one up, Silent Suns. Sakurobot. Starlair, The Golden Eagle, The Last Light, The Tale of Miston, Things Too Ugly, Titani Gods. What's with the gods? Ultimate Rock Climbing.
I will say I have heard of Things Too Ugly, and it looks really cool.
Okay.
I do want to play Things Too Ugly.
What's that one about?
That one is, I have to look it up. It's one of those games where I think it's sort of like, it's definitely a puzzle. I don't know if it's sort of a deduction-based puzzle thing, but it looks like it had some creepy deduction, investigative sort of gameplay vibes. I'm looking it up now to see if I could get a little bit more about it because I added it to my wish list a while ago. But yeah, it looks sort of, it definitely looks like a very small team made it, but it looks intriguing and mysterious in the right ways. And user reviews so far, there aren't many of them, but they are universally positive.
Okay, so it is a game that came out, was it recently on Steam? Or
Yeah, it came out on the 16th.
Okay,
So
very recent.
That was just a few days ago.
Rounding out this list is Titania Gods, Ultimate Rock Climbing Challenge, Unsolved Case, The Scarlet, Hyacinth CE, and Valhalla Mountain. That is a lot of crap coming to the Switch.
Socorro Gods. Now I'm just putting gods on everything. Socorro Bot is a robot-based puzzle game
That doesn't sound terrible.
for $3.49.
Socorro Vivers, you said?
Socorro Bot. We'll get it.
I can't get over that name. I can't get over
Too
it.
much.
I can't tell whether we should always read the eShop highlights now or never do that again.
Only time will tell.
Are we calling those highlights? Are we calling that highlights, that list? Because that list was exhausting.
Those are highlights for January.
Yeah.
Just think about what happens when actual games start coming out.
So I'm going to leave that up to you in the audience. You can comment below if you're listening to us on YouTube Music or just listening through our YouTube channel. Let us know, did you like hearing all of these ridiculous eShop games? I'll keep doing it weekly. It was kind of amusing. Hey, we found a couple titles. Right?
Well, for me, it just highlights how much stuff comes out and how out of touch I am.
Yeah. And how much of a dumping ground January appears to be for stuff. So, yeah, that's kind of the big news stories. So let's hop into our question of the day before we get into our discussion. There is a difference there. A question and a discussion.
I see.
I don't know. Whatever. I'm freeballing.
However you have to justify it, man. It's fine.
The question of the day. TikTok has been banned, as you probably know, and as our LG TV told us this morning, which I didn't even realize TikTok was available on our TV or how that would work. But either way, TikTok is banned. I want to hear your thoughts, Silent Science. Let's start with you. You haven't been talking enough.
I haven't been talking enough?
No, go for it. TikTok, what do you think? It's gone for now.
You want me to talk about TikTok?
Sure.
Well, I have not really... I'm old, okay? I've never really been a TikToker. I have a TikTok account. So it's inconsequential to me, but I do feel sad for people whose livelihoods were built on that platform. Just as you would be sad if something were to happen to YouTube, I feel for those people. That's an awful thing to wake up to.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It is definitely, it's got to be a shell shock moment. Like, if YouTube were gone tomorrow, like you said, I would be pretty upset. I put 6 years of work into this channel, so
it's not the platform itself that I think people care about. It's that their careers were established there. And you, as well as anyone else, know how hard it is to migrate a fan base from one platform to another.
Yeah, and I kind of discussed this in the Discord, but TikTok is a company that, in my opinion, was on a little bit of a shaky foundation to start with. So it's important before you go into a big business to know who you're doing business with. And I think this is a reminder of that. Now, I do think TikTok is going to be back. I think they're going to find a way to work it out. I don't know if that means it's bought from someone and they make it more Americanized and they change some things, but I do think it's going to return. But yeah, it's an interesting feeling I have today. Like, this app that was loved by a lot of people disappears, and yet the world just kind of keeps spinning, and we're all ultimately okay. And I thought it was kind of a weird moment of realization. That's like, we'd be okay without these things. It's just kind of sad for some people for a while, but life goes on.
Do you forget that life existed before any of these things?
Yeah,
life
it's hard to remember that, isn't it?
Internet, before smartphones, before television, before radio, there was life. So yeah, life goes on, but in theory, we created these platforms to engage with other people and to be creative. It's a new art form, you know?
Wait, so you're saying Axl Rose was right when he said nothing lasts forever, even cold November rain?
Yeah, I guess I'll give that one to Axel.
Mike, what's your thoughts on TikTok being banned for now anyways?
You know, I'm kind of torn, leaning toward it being a good thing. I really do feel for everybody who's kind of losing their livelihoods from that. I'm hoping, I don't really know how this works, but I'm hoping the fact that the app is shutting down and people need to migrate somewhere means that maybe these, you know, the people who make their livelihood on TikTok could more easily migrate to another platform. I hope so. Then again, I've heard of a lot of people migrating to a different Chinese platform, which is sort of like, are we playing whack-a-mole here? Like, is that what the regulators are going to have to do here? But my thoughts on why it could be a good thing. I mean, I am trying pretty hard not to be all up in social media all the time because I do feel like a lot of it is really, really toxic. And I think TikTok especially has been a really, really effective platform for propaganda. I think that it does have a lot to do with how extreme a lot of people's political viewpoints have become the last few years, and they've really formed their own echo chambers and see only the content that they want to see. And having a foreign government that we're not universally friendly with have influence over that, I see that as a pretty big deal. And I am of the opinion, all politics aside, you should not ever be getting your news, like indie gaming news aside, but political news about what's going on in the world,
real world,
from social media. You cannot vet it properly. No. And the sort of viewpoints I've seen people espouse when they are all up in TikTok all the time and how extreme they get about subjects they know little to nothing about is really scary. Well, really scary. So I'm
with you there as far as it is social media in general is a scary place for people to get their news from, just because
totally
there's an algorithm in place to feed you a specific rhetoric, like based on your interests and things you've interacted with. And sometimes those are positive things in favor of your views, and sometimes those are negative things against everything you believe in, so that you'll type an angry comment, like it's so scary that they can filter that towards what you're going to react to. So
yeah, but I also feel like mainstream media has kind of brought us to this point too, by not always being truthful with people. And there's a lot of distrust between mainstream media and the people. And now you're seeing a lot of people try to make their own news, and that's not good either. So you just kind of have this.
No, all of this is bad.
You just have this bad situation where nobody trusts the mainstream news, but you can't trust just some rando on Twitter either to tell you the truth. So where do you go? Where is the truth?
I think a lot of people have lost critical thinking skills. I think critical thinking skills,
if they ever have,
are at an all-time low. I don't know. I worry.
Because I don't know about you, but I don't trust most news networks like Fox News or CNN. I don't go to those sources to learn things.
No.
Yeah, honestly, even news sources I have trusted over time sometimes publish things that I'm like, really? You're really not telling the full story here. I don't think so. So I fully agree with you. I don't know what the answer to that is, but it's not to
TikTok.
Get your news on TikTok.
No.
That's for sure.
No.
It's not TikTok.
But that said, I mean, TikTok, while I personally wasn't an avid user of it, I know a lot of friends that got things like recipes and DIY projects and things like that off of TikTok, which can you get that somewhere else? Sure.
Or, silly dances, dick and fart jokes, stuff like that.
Okay, but that's comedy, that's necessary to the human experience as well. And I'm not saying TikTok's the only place to get those things, but
hey, TikTok was successful. There's a reason YouTube got so heavy into shorts. They saw the success. They were actually threatened for the first time in their existence by another platform. So, yeah, no, TikTok is definitely a success story, but it finds itself in hot water right now. It is gone for the time. I do think it's going to come back, though.
Well, so I think to summarize, support any content creators you enjoy on other platforms during this time. Don't trust the news that you receive on social media in any capacity. And every once in a while, you should exercise your critical thinking skills.
Yes. And I would reiterate,
every once in a while.
be careful and be aware. Do your research on who you do business with. YouTube's not perfect, but they seem pretty damn rich and solid. So I'm not really worried about...
Well, you got Google behind you.
I'm not really worried about them going out of business or anything like that. So, but hey, who knows? Tomorrow's not a promise in this world, right? All right. So that's kind of our thoughts on that. But let us know in the comments below. What do you think of TikTok being banned? In fact, this is a good time to shout out because I did a poll recently about this very topic. You can head over to our community section where you are given a voice. Each and every week, we post a poll that you can participate in, and they're a whole lot of fun. They really get heated sometimes, so keep it civil in there. That's all I'm asking, right? Last thing before we get into what's going on the channel this coming week, we have our discussion topic. It's all about local co-op today. it's not gone entirely. We are still seeing a lot of indie releases and beyond that use local co-op. Of course, shifting to online multiplayer has changed things greatly. People play for convenience now. Going online is easier than getting together with friends these days, especially as you get older, as sad as that is. You have to have split screen in these games. And I
Not
guess...
necessarily.
In a lot of them, not all of them, right? There's a lot of screen stuff too, same screen, but a lot of times that is something for a developer to think about, having split screen functionality in a game. That's another thing to work on. A console like the Switch can't do split screen all the time very well, so...
You know, it was a great local co-op game that we played recently. It was Anima Flux.
Oh, yeah,
and
the
also
Metroidvania.
a pretty good Metroidvania.
It's actually a pretty fun little...
But there was no split screen in that, and it worked beautifully.
It did. It worked well. Actually, that was cool because if you got too far away from the other character, it would...
You get a little, like, picture-in-picture.
Yeah.
No, you get a little picture-in-picture.
Oh, that's right, the picture-in-picture. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, more of a single-player focus. That's another thing going on here. So I'm curious, where do you think local co-op is today, Barely Magic Mike?
I actually think there are more awesome local co-op experiences now than there were like 10 years ago, when there really was such a decline happening because all the publishers thought all everybody wanted was online play. And I think the indie developer community has really elevated local co-op at this point. You have a ton of people who have played games like Overcooked and Moving Out and like those sort of fun, goofy local co-op games. And I don't know if you consider Jackbox local co-op, but
I can be both, I guess.
It's sort of in that, it's sort of that flavor of stuff where you can get people together in the same room to play a game together. You guys probably know this about me, but I really don't play online games at all. I really don't like playing with random people, but I do love my local co-op games, and games like Unspottable, which we still need to play together, by the way. Unspottable is fantastic. I have played so much of it with my friends. It's really great. And games like that and Overcooked, and I'm trying to think of, like Boomerang Fu. I don't know if you guys played that one.
I remember it.
That's a really great, runs at 60 FPS on the Switch with local co-op. Runs great, actually, surprisingly. I think there are, if you're looking carefully enough in the indie scene, there are some amazing local co-op games, like party games. Or I guess those are more competitive than co-op.
I think
but, you get my drift.
The sweet spot is a game that offers both local co-op and online play, because then you can have your cake and eat it too, right? You can play with your friends locally. You can invite friends from online that might not be able to drop by locally, and you can all play together.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. That's a great feature in games.
Like we've recently done that with, obviously not an indie, but Mario Kart.
Yeah, that's a game you could play online, and I love the idea of being able to have your local partner on the same couch and go online with you.
Exactly.
Not enough games have really done that.
No, that's what we need more of. That's what people are asking for. We want to be able to do both.
I always don't understand why Fall Guys never added a local multiplayer feature. It would have helped the game so much.
I agree. I never even thought about that. Actually, I often forget about Fall Guys because I haven't played it in a long time.
It's really fun.
It is really fun. But again, we kind of stopped playing it because it was like, well, only one of us could play at a time, unless we had two Switches hooked up, or whatever,
Sometimes a game will come out and you feel like it should have local co-op, but then it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really deflating.
That is frustrating.
Like, well, why didn't you just go the extra mile to have the local co-op? And then I'm playing a game like this right now. It's online only. There's no bringing a friend with you online or anything like that. And I was like, gosh, this would have been a lot of fun if I could have played this locally with someone. So
I have so many fond memories of just like nights we would get together with friends and play games in the same room, whether that be rhythm games like Guitar Hero or like kart racers or what have you. But like those are my formative gaming experiences,
Do you feel like that's a lost art now, or are we just getting older and younger people are doing that?
I don't know. What games like that exist now?
Like, well, Mike had some decent examples, like Overcooked and such.
Overcooked, yeah.
Overcooked is crazy popular.
But it's going to make you hate each other.
Yeah. But no,
totally.
I'm also with you. I feel like people are just getting together less in general.
Well, the pandemic definitely played a hand in that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot of people, even people who had like consistent hangouts, each week.
Yeah.
Probably stopped for at least a while. And I have a feeling more than a few of those people never picked that back up again.
Yeah, we had a friend for years. You know, Silent Signs. We'd go
I
there.
know.
That was our weekend. We'd go
Every
over, we'd
Friday
play
night.
Guitar Hero. It'd be watch a movie together. It would be do all of this fun stuff.
Multiplayer games of all kinds. What was that game? The Explode Together game.
Oh, God. I can't think. I'll remember it and bring it to the next podcast.
Explosion.
Explosion Man?
Explosion Man.
Yeah.
Explosion Man, yes.
I loved... Wait, hold on.
Such a good
game.
It's not Explosion
Explosion.
Explode him.
It is Explosion
Thank you.
Man.
That's why I said it that way.
Gosh, I forgot about
Explosion
that.
Man.
Oh, that is such a fantastic game. Missplosion Man, the sequel, is also fantastic, but it is... Oh my God, it is a fucking nut cruncher. It is so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Also
Fun,
happens to
though.
be your nickname, Mike. That's
but it's
interesting,
great.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like stuff like that.
But you also have stuff. You have like Battle Block Theater. That's kind of old now, but that's a great local co-op game. You have Vampire Survivors as local co-op.
Even like Castle Crashers.
Oh, gosh, I love Castle Crashers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Big Helmet Heroes coming up.
Oh, yeah?
Looks a lot like Castle Crashers. It looks very cute. Yeah. They're totally more. Oh, Just Shapes and Beats. Did you ever play Just Shapes and Beats?
Never. No.
Rhythm game, local co-op.
Which surprises me because I
very
love rhythm
challenging.
games.
Same.
Oh, Lord. Just Shapes and Beats. One of the best rhythm games out there. Local co-op. Very challenging. Make sure you're up for the challenge, but it's so good.
So then, Mike, you would say this whole idea of local co-op kind of being a dying art is a bit more of a myth? Or maybe people just don't realize that it does exist and they're not playing those games?
Let me ask you this, though, before. I'm sorry to interject. Where are you reading about local co-op dying? Are you reading about it online?
I just hear a lot of comments on our channel, actually, about it.
Because
Did you hear it on
No,
TikTok?
I literally hear it from our fans. How they're upset that there's not enough local co-op games.
I just think that, like, obviously, people who are going to be loud about loving to play online are going to be hanging out talking about it online, you know? Like, I don't know.
Also fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
I would say to anybody who thinks local co-op is dying, I feel for you, but you might have to look a little deeper into the indie scene to find some really great ones. We've listed off a handful of them, but sometimes they're not as, aggressively popular as some of the online games like, Helldivers 2 and stuff like that. It takes a little more effort to find them, but, I think we probably have a list out there of best local multiplayer, maybe. I don't know. If not, we should probably do
Should
one.
definitely do that. But
I really want to play some Explosion Man now.
I know. It feels
Get
like
my
we
hands on that.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like we just are on Mythbusters. We just debunked a myth about local co-op being dead. Let's close this thing out. Coming up on the channel this week, Silent Signs. You're doing a very exciting review. You can't talk about the game just yet as far as the nitty gritty, but this will be live, so you all can watch it if you're on the local feeds.
I'm actually working on a few games.
Thursday, this comes to the local feeds. So yeah, this review will be live for you. It's Ender Magnolia, the sequel here.
Oh, hey.
To Ender Lilies,
But
which
isn't
we
this going to come out on Patreon first?
Monday, Patreon. So you'll be waiting 1 day for that review if you're on Patreon. Everyone else will be enjoying that review now. Does that make sense?
But can we talk about it until?
We can't talk about it. We're still under embargo technically right now.
Right.
So yeah,
That's why I was asking.
we can't talk about it till next week's podcast.
Well, we could talk about it, but we'd have to.
We could say it's a game. We have a video game.
I have a video game. I'm playing it. I'm actually playing 2 video games.
Yeah, I'm playing one too. It's Lonely Mountain Snow Riders. Follow up to Lonely Mountain Downhill, which I absolutely loved. That review will also be going live Tuesday. Gosh, I'm just looking at this now and realizing how busy I'm going to be. And a review of Dreamcore, Silent Signs, which is a liminal space game.
It is.
Very interesting. We don't get a lot of those on the channel. I don't think we've covered too many liminal space games in our history, have
Other
we?
than Pools, which we didn't
I don't even think we
actually
did
cover,
Pools.
but we talked about.
Yeah. Was Pools cool?
I liked it. I played a good chunk of it, and I feel like it's in a weird. I feel like liminal space is a weird kind of genre in that it's very, very specific.
Was there a goal
Like, you have to accept
in Pools?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's an exit you ultimately find and get to, and the whole the vibe is really creepy, but you have to sort of get yourself in the mindset. I mean, if you're playing Dreamcore, you get it. You have to kind of get yourself in the mindset of like, let me be immersed in this, even though I know nothing's going to pop out at me, nothing's going to chase me.
Yeah.
It is technically a walking sim, but it's just weird vibes all
For me,
around. But I like the weird vibes.
it's the idea of being hopelessly lost in an environment that seems like an endless maze that is meant to be the psychological effect, right?
There was a game too, like the back rooms, right?
The
I think
emptiness.
that was actually a Switch listing that I did earlier.
The lack of anything is what's more scary than anything else.
I do quite like this in concept. I don't know if I'll like it as a video game yet, but we shall see. When Dreamcore will be launching next week. So yeah, those are the 3 big reviews hitting the channel. We've got quite a bit of stuff coming in now. It's getting busy, y'all, isn't it?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, I'd say it's heating up a little bit now. So we should be rolling all the way through 2025 now. There's that like post-holiday slump. Do you guys feel it? Are you out of it yet? Do you feel like back in the groove?
I'll feel back in the groove by like the end of April.
That long, really?
Oh yeah, I hate winter.
I was gonna say March. Yeah, I do kind of enjoy that it's gonna snow today, and we're just gonna be snowed in, and I'm gonna make steak, and we're gonna drink hot chocolate, and it's gonna be
that
great.
Sounds nice. Can I come over?
Yeah, definitely. Only like 3 hours away. Do it.
It's gonna snow here too, so.
But hey, here at I Dream of Indie Games, we're only a click away. So thank you all for supporting us. We hope you enjoyed the podcast this week. We'll be back next week, Thursday, for you local feeds out there. We're on Spotify, we're on YouTube Music, we're on YouTube itself, and Patreon 3 days early. That's one hell of a perk, and that's at the lowest tier, Silent Signs. Can't beat that, right? Hear our lovely voices early and sponsor and ad-free. Not that this podcast is sponsored yet.
Your results may vary
One
on how
can dream.
lovely you think our voices are.
All right, Silent Signs, you play us out this week.
Thank you for listening to us drivel on for an hour of your day. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
See y'all then.
Goodbye.
Do you have the courage to tackle the gaming echo chamber and give a voice to the voiceless? Subscribe to the channel for all your indie gaming needs and hop on over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames for Discord access and exclusive perks. Join our amazing community and help I Dream of Indie Games shine brighter than ever. Voice to the voiceless, and see you in the next video, Indie Warriors. Here we go!